Very shiny.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of Lifetime Success with Jennifer Yon Agency. We are still on the journey of Where Are They Now with IBA Success Magazine, interviewing some of my favorite individuals that was on the cover of IBA Success Magazine. I'm super excited. I'm trying not to feel nervous because this is the queen of interviews herself. Okay, Miss Monica May, how are you?
I am really well and excited, Jennifer, because we are in the, I don't want to say reconstruction, but we are in reinvention mode. We are doing all of this, and I love what you've done, going back to some of your old covers and finding out what we're up to. Thank you for thinking it not robbery to get me back on here, because I enjoyed the success of being on IBA Success.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm a true believer in when you do what you love, it shows. So watching you, I feel like you have been one of my mentors throughout my years. You know, watching you do what you love, work hard on radio and, host events. I have admired that. That's one of the things that said, okay, I need this power woman on the cover of my publication.
Thank you. Thank you. And I remember that day as if it was just yesterday. And although it's been 3 years, you and I have done several projects together, even traveling together to hit some spots and to share some knowledge with other Black women. So I appreciate you, Jennifer, for the platform that you've created for all of us, men and women, young and old. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. So this is the question. What are you doing now? You've done a lot of changes since then. Before you were on the radio station. Let's talk about that. Are you still doing radio?
Okay, so that's a big elephant, and we may as well tackle that one first. But no, I'm not. Tom Joyner retired on December 13th, and I left a week later. I wasn't intending to retire. I really went out because that was my vacation. But I had been asking for 2 years, if Tom retires, then it turned to when Tom retires, then it turned to Tom is about to leave, y'all. What are we going to do with me? The management at that point had not been there when I was hired 13 years ago. I was not hired to host Tom Joyner's morning show. I was only hired to do 3 newscasts a morning and to create an image through Star Cares for the radio station. That I did. I bought them sponsors, came with sponsorships. So I created millions of dollars for that company. And I just didn't want to move forward in the political climate that we're in with so much laughter. I felt that as an adult radio station, which is what I thought we were, it was more time to take politics and take it head on. But it's not only politics, it's just information. And I wasn't sure that between the laughter, my voice could be heard. So I just decided, well, why don't you let me just do the community affairs piece? And we couldn't come to an even level field. And so I just decided, you know what, it took a mental strain on me. I will tell you that much, because I don't know if we've talked about mental health before.
Yes.
So I didn't spiral into a depression, but I certainly did get depressed, because after 40 years and then not doing what you love, it was like, okay, I may need some help now, because getting up every day, what's my purpose? I had to redefine. I was ready, but I wasn't ready to do it then, if that makes any sense. So I think the lesson I learned then is don't ever get comfortable, because I was never that way before. I was always ready for the next station, but I knew, anyway, long story short, I had bought Monica May Communications a long time ago, and I just decided to pull the trigger on that. And what I've done successfully with that is I created something called One Take Live, where every week on Thursdays, 6 p.m., I host just a 15-minute interview. It's politically driven, it's health, it's education, it's wellness, it's entertainment. from our community and from national figures too. And then I also moderate a lot of just events. Like I have one coming up with the African American Chamber of Commerce this week. I have one that I'm doing in September on prostate cancer awareness. I'm married now, and my husband developed cancer. And just in March, right before COVID shut everything down, we had surgery. And I say we because it's a journey we've been on for some time now. And in doing that, a company found it not robbery to ask me to put together a panel of doctors and other Black men in our community, Black and Latino men who have experienced this. So we're starting that series September 3rd. And then we'll do a big thing towards the middle of September. And I'll keep you posted. The big thing about prostate cancer in Black men, if they don't have a real true sister behind them or some type of a woman that really cares about their health, they're not going to address it. They're not going to address it. And so I learned a lot during that journey. And so I worked after I left the station. And it was in March was when the decision was finally made. And it was a long time coming that I just really wanted to focus on being a wife, being a businesswoman, and being a helpmate to grow our business. He's a caterer, but I let that slur. He's a caterer, Jennifer. And we have a brick and mortar building in Metro West. And that brick and mortar came from Let's Spill the Tea. I wanted a front room to do the teas and the business meetings that I was renting space for. And I said, well, why not do something where we can have killing two birds at one stone? So we got the old Philly sub-state place and we plugged in all of our equipment. And in less than a week, we were up and running. And we've been there in that brick and mortar for about the last almost 4 years now. And the front part, during COVID, we turned into a bistro. We have lights, we have music outside every weekend, and we just have a good time. And so I feel like in my 60s, I am living truly my best life. That was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful. You gave me like the whole rundown.
David, I mean,
yes.
I am who I am, and I just love the space that I'm holding right now. Not that I didn't enjoy it before, but this space right now just has Robin Monica May on it.
Okay. So one thing that you said is that you wanted your voice to still be heard, which is a powerful voice. Okay.
Thank you.
And when you felt that need to say, okay, I want my voice to be heard, was it just automatic for you to create the interviews series that you're doing, or what was it that said, this is it right now for my voice?
I think what happened is that I had stayed silent long enough. I had been silent since December. I wasn't on any real social media. I really wasn't out there. I was really going through redeveloping my mental health, my physical strength. I'm a diabetic also, and I had gained some weight. And so since then, I was able to slim off that weight, get my numbers back on, because when you go through a depression or just
life,
whatever it was called, it was a funk, that's what my therapist and I called it. It was a funk, all kinds of things. One glass of wine turned into 2 and 3. And I just didn't want that anymore. So I just decided that I was going to take me a lot more serious and develop something that could keep me connected, but could also keep me busy, because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And I refuse to give mine back to him, because there's a hole in depression that you can sink into. And I just wasn't going to do it again. I've been there before. Just didn't want it. And I realized, Jen, that my joy comes from serving and speaking. Serving and speaking. That's what I enjoy.
That's awesome. I love your transparency. I love how, as a Black woman, you are open about your age. You're open about what you've been through. You're open about seeing a therapist and fixing you. I admire that, because a lot of entrepreneurs as women, and we're talking about women, so we're going to just talk about us.
Yes.
We don't want to be honest about the funk. we don't want to be honest. And when we're not honest about that, we stay stuck in that funk and we're not able to grow. So that just, even pushes me being sitting home and trying to figure out how to restructure my business with it being so focused on events. When it hit, it was easy to slide into that funk and feel like realizing, what do I do next?
That's why this was a smart move.
Yes, thank you. When I first met you, we had an emotional moment in my office, almost about the funk, and I opened up to you about, my life and being a teen mom. And this is where I connected with you because of your organization, Let's Spill the Tea. Tell us about that, because you brushed over it, but you didn't give it the credit, I believe, on what women and family, not women now, because I noticed you've done some things with fathers, but what it means to be a parent, and how that helps the success with your organization, Let's Spill the Tea.
Well, the tea comes from this. It's about telling the truth. And there was something happening in my family that even my family doesn't like to talk about it. But just by the time most of us were either between the ages of 17 to 19, we were moms already. And I found myself at 17 in that same predicament. That was my first abortion. Then it happened again. And it happened again, Jen. And I just kept saying, what the, what are you doing? And so I really can relate to teen moms, but I can also relate to something that happens in our families too. There is a judgment that comes if you have a sibling and that sibling has done some things. You are expected to make the same. And that's what kept being told. And I never said this to anybody, but relatives and I heard the whispers in the street. She ain't gonna be nothing. She ain't gonna do nothing. Look at her. I was not an attractive kid. I wore glasses. I had these long, thick pigtails, but I had acne that was so self-esteemingly horrible. That's not even a word, I know. But it made me shrink into myself. But inside myself was this voice that was smart, that was personable, but I was told that I was so many other things. I was told very openly that I was ugly, that I looked like a strawberry. I was told so many negative things, and that she ain't going to do anything better than it. So you sort of start to live up to those things. And I vowed to change all of that. And while I hid those pregnancies, I let my light begin to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. And I did that with God's grace. And segue to when I moved here, I was asked to speak at the Beta House. And the Beta House is a home for teenage moms. And I was going there on a regular basis. But after a while, Jen, I started seeing some repeat girls. And I said, they're not getting the message. Sat in my car, I got there early one day. God just said, write down your life. And I did. I wrote it down from the time I was 14 years old to when I started dabbling in drugs and alcohol, sex, and all those things. And I just told the truth up until that very day. And I went in there and I read that letter in third person. And nobody knew that I was talking about me. And I talked about everything that I had done. And I just told the truth. The teachers in the room were like, because they could relate. The girls' eyes were like, woo, buck wild, what is it called? Deer in headlights.
Yeah.
But it gave you a glimpse at, if I could come from that in the projects in New York to living different places and making a way for myself in this field that was dominated by men and making it through to that particular day, then so could you. And having another baby was not going to be your answer. So I talked about going through college, and I even got pregnant there, my sophomore year. And then again, as soon as I graduated, come on now.
Yeah.
So I needed to hear my own lessons. So I just made it relevant. And I made it relevant that if you had the support of home, the support of a mom that could talk with you, you would do much better. In my household, a lot was taboo, and my mom just didn't talk. It wasn't that she couldn't, she just didn't, for whatever. Maybe her mom didn't talk. All
Mhm.
I'll say is that creating the tea helps me expose not only my truth, but it gives women a safe space to turn to their daughters and say, baby, this is what I've done. I do understand you more. I do get when you slam that door why you're feeling like that. So what I do is help them develop a toolkit, and I give it to them when they walk in the door. Jen, everybody, and these teas were virtually free. My husband and I were doing them. I didn't become a nonprofit overnight. I just became a nonprofit recently. I was doing this out of my pocket. Um, but because I wanted to grow it bigger, I said, I better, write for some grants. And thank God, Florida Blue has been very gracious. And I've had a lot of independent donors as well. And we do this tea where we bring them all together, about 25 moms, 25 girls. There's 50 people in the room. And you have these statements. I have it across the room, and I don't want to get up and move from here, but they're just questions that teens ask.
Yes.
And we put them on the wall, and the moms answer their version of a question, and the girls answer theirs. We talk about it. We may be beading together. We may be painting together. We may be doing something.
Mhm.
Then we eat, and then we talk about those questions. And then we took a bunch of them on a retreat. So it's so many things that have come of it. But I mean, I could go on and on and on, but we're planning now our first virtual tea party that
Okay.
will include a paint party too. And what I'm finding is that big girls are asking me to do them for them as well. So I
Mhm.
can do that. We're just putting together what we call our toolkits for us,
Mhm.
for our mental health, and just we try to create communication that's creating, using twice, but creating an atmosphere for healthy relationships between parents and their children.
I love it. And I also noticed that your daughter is by your side at a lot of these functions now. I know you are extremely proud of her. I'm watching and following her on social media, so I see the amazing things that she's doing. For that, did it take some breakthrough between you and your daughter?
To get her to come back home,
Yes.
um, it did. It did. She said to me one day, are you going to play with this tea, or are you going to use it really as your vocal platform?
Okay.
That's what she said to me.
Okay.
Um, and I said, I really want to do it. Uh, and I kept umming. And she said, that's not you because you don't So I had to just lay it on the line with her where I was. And do you know she came home right before, well, no, in July of last year. And I told her what we could do together. I told her what she could do here for herself. Let me just share. She's a master's degree person from Howard University. She's a speech pathologist. One of her clients is OCPS, and then she has a lot of private clients too. But she's working on projects of it's called the social circle, SOULCIAL, social circle, where she engages children of color or young adults of color too on how to socialize if they have autism or are of limited verbal abilities. So
Mhm.
she's doing that. So while she does her thing, she's here to help me with my social media, with developing my thoughts, because I have racy thoughts. Because
Mhm.
while we discovered that I was depressed, I was also anxious too. And that's a lot to deal with. I'm just a creative person. So I have thoughts going this way, Jen, and that way. And so she just helps rein me in, and I help rein her in. And I've been watching her take the lead. I gave her the stage last August at the family reunion. I let her take over the whole tea. Amazing. She commanded an entire audience and a team of professionals on stage like you would not. I don't know. I'm just very, very, very proud of Monique May. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you are, I am proud as well. I ran into her when I visited your bistro over the
And
weekend.
thank you for coming. Thank
Oh
you
my
for coming.
goodness.
It
All
was
I
good
have
to
to
see you
say,
and Shy.
those lamb chops. I woke up the next morning and I ate them cold. That's how good they were. So I need to come back and get another order of those.
Please
Tell us
do.
where they can visit you at the bistro. What's the address?
Okay, thank you, Jen. It's 2295 South Hiawassee Road. We're Suite 105A. It's in Metro West, right across from the golf club. And if you are thinking in terms of those two horses that are on West Point, you would come south and then swing that loop, make a, what is that called? A U-turn. And we're
Okay.
that first complex right there on the right. And it used to be Soul Tree was in there.
Okay.
Now that's I'm giving them a plug. It's a hookah lounge now, but we're that very first building on the end, and it would be great to have you all come by. We're trying to grow it because in COVID, my husband catered for like the archdiocese and had several large clients, and they're doing smaller business now. So that means that we are too. So we were doing a lot of schools too, and everybody's going into almost a touchless, like we had our employees serve there. So now they just want us to present, like bring in the lunch,
Okay.
containers and stuff like that. So we've had to slow our service down. So we love having the bistro open. It just gives us something to do.
And you did say on the weekends there's live music. Is that every weekend or
Every weekend.
okay?
Every weekend, like this Saturday, I'm getting ready to call her now and see if she'd be willing to do it. But I would love to have Live Heart there. And Live Heart is a guitarist. You're familiar with Live Heart, I'm sure. She's a guitarist and she's just kind of folksy, jazzy, just very neo soul like. And so it's not always going to be jazz. I'm looking for all genres of people to come out and see us. So, if you're not doing anything this Friday or Saturday, and the Friday is more of a DJ kind of evening, and that might be a house DJ or it may be something like that. But Saturday is always the live music. So come on out and join us. Thank you.
You know what? If you are tuning in, I know you are just enjoying this interview as much as I am. We are taking a journey through IBA Success Magazine, our last covers. This edition, like all of our editions, is still online. You can still view it. You can read Monica's full story, which starts on, it's right in the center at page 27. Let's build the team. We talked about your mission statement here, your audience, your programs, your benefits. I am so excited to hear the information of your virtual event that's going to be coming up soon, because as a mom, I feel like there is always something we can do to get closer to our daughters. So this is just amazing that you do, and you're still pushing this full force.
I am. I just got off the phone with who will be the title sponsor, and Simply Health is looking really forward to partnering with us to do things like this that will take some of the relief. This COVID, just being on lockdown with your child before they had to go back to school, either through Launch Ed or face to face or whatever the case may have been. Has been very stressful on everybody, So this is a way to de-stress. And that's why we thought that the toolkit would be just as relevant now as if it were us doing a regular tea party and they would get all of their supplies. So what they will do this time is they'll stop over at the center, pick up all of their art supplies in their tea bag.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's coming up soon, and I will I'll text you back the information, email you and Kate, and tell Kate I said thank you very much for staying so up on me, because sometimes
she's awesome. That's one thing I can say. So while we've been talking, we've had a couple of comments. Miss Dana says that she wants the lamb chops.
I gotta let George know that.
I know your birthday is coming up, Dana. I'm going to have to take you there just to get you those lamb chops. We also have Miss Patricia that wants to know where is the bistro again in Metro West. So if you can give us that address again, maybe a phone number where she can reserve a table. All I can tell you, Miss Chuck, once you come, you're going to be stuck.
I mean, it's real personal service, wouldn't you say?
I would say that, anytime you get the chef that comes out to your table, talks to you, brings you those special dippings and everything else, you're in a place of love, of a passion. And you don't always see that. You don't always see the person come out of the kitchen and come to check on their tables personally. So I appreciate that.
He is something. George Ashford is, told you we met late in life. We met late in life. We were both in our late 50s when we met on a blind date, girlfriend. And when I walked in the restaurant, first of all, I never called a guy. That I'm still old school. I was hosting an event at Draft, and real quick. And I wound up walking over to her. I remembered her from last time I lived here. And I asked her, I was watching she and her husband. I said, "Ooh, do you have any single friends like my age?" And first of all, she was like, "So what is your age?" And then the other thing is, "Monica May don't have a date." And I said, "Well, there he is, but I want tomorrow." I wanted more at that point. And when it's that time, God lets you know. But I also knew I had to change some things too that I was doing. And that meant I couldn't have all of those just dates. You can't just keep dating. Sometimes you got to just stop, put everything on hold, and just get right. Just sit and talk with God. And he called, gave him my number, and I wasn't there. And I actually did call him back. And I said, "So I hear you're a cook." That was the wrong thing to say to a chef.
Right.
I didn't know the difference, girl. But anyway, one thing led to another. And by the second date, can you believe it or not, he said, "So what's next for Robin Monica May?" I was impressed that he remembered my full name. But first of all, he didn't know who Monica May was.
Okay.
He didn't know who he was coming to have a date with. And it was his kids that told him. And they pulled me up. And when they Googled me, he said, "Yeah, that's her." "Yeah, that's her." Oh. That was such a blessing. And the fact that he was smart and the fact that he could cook, oh my God. But he was a gentle giant. On that second date, what's my goal? What's next for me? To become Mrs. George Ashford. And I didn't take it back like, oops, or please. We've been together, it's 7 years now.
Wow.
And married 4. And, just trying to grow this business and getting to know each other more and more every day. That's one thing in marriage. You never stop learning your partner. So that means you never stop loving them. You never stop growing. And especially if you wait till we did, shoot, we're mid 60s now. So it's all great.
Great.
It's beautiful. That's all I can say. And so, yes, 22, it's CB Bistro. Catering's Best is the catering company. CB Bistro, 2295 South. Put that question up again because I may be able to help them. 2295. Listen, I thought that they were getting ready to say something else. I'm going to tell you what I need, though, too. 2295 South Hiawassee Road, Suite 105A. We're right underneath the big clock. And when she said essential service worker, all I saw was service worker. I will tell you that we are looking for servers. We're looking for busboys too. One of the things that we're trying to do is hire us to make sure that during this transition, if you are out of work and that is your line of work, come on and help, and we make it worth your while. So 321-229-5786. Jennifer, God, I love you, girl. This is great.
I love you too. I love
interview me. I always thought.
Yes, this has been an amazing interview. Like all of my interviews, you can always go and check them out on YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube page. You can like me on Facebook, Jennifer Yon Agency, IBA Success Magazine. My timer just let me know we've been talking about 30 minutes because my lights just shut off on me.
Let's go. Bye.
You know what? That tells me I need to get up and move because I'm trying to keep my body going too. So if you're watching, make sure that you follow Monica May Communications. Follow her. Just shout out your social media pages, Monica.
MonicaMayCommunications.com. That's what they need to know. MonicaMayCommunications.com. Monica May Communications on YouTube. And Let's Spill the Tea is all there for you to see. And I'll post when we're getting ready to do that virtual tea party. Jennifer, I love you. You and your daughter, please come.
We will be coming. And thank you so much for taking this time and speaking with us today. I look forward to doing more work with you and seeing you on those weekends, because the music was phenomenal, as well as the artists that you had there painting live art. I even got a piece for my bedroom. So
did you? Wow.
I really did. So
Joy Hayes.
Great way to promote entrepreneurship and other people. Joseph is one of my favorite entertainers. So it was just an amazing night.
Thank you so much for being there. And thank you again for this platform, Jennifer. I really, really, really appreciate you. 3 years ago till now, girl, we're going to be all right.
There we go.
Be all right. Just keep doing what you're doing, sweetheart. You got it. You got it.
Thank you so much. So continue to follow us and go back and watch this video. # Monica May if you're watching, or replay. And don't forget to look her up. We are all in this together. And ladies, grab your daughters and let's spill the tea.
Oh, bless you.
All righty. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.